You're listening to Bernadette Gold Unfiltered, which means you're ready for a new level in business, health, and life. Hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. No filter, no fluff. Let's go. We are living through the greatest and most unprecedented period of time in recorded history. Let that land. And before I tell you what's possible in this moment, I need to tell you something that most people aren't ready to hear. You've been living in a cage, and there's a good chance you didn't even know it. Now, I'm not talking about a physical cage. I'm talking about the structures built around you, the ones that told you who you were, what you were worth, how much you were allowed to earn, and what you were permitted to become. The corporation was a cage. It handed you a title, a salary range, a performance review that told you once a year whether you were enough. And you organized your entire identity around that feedback. Social media platforms, a cage. If you're a creator or an influencer, TikTok decides who sees your content. Instagram decides your reach. The brand decides your message. The algorithm decides your income. You're performing inside someone else's structure every single day. If you're self employed, the client is a cage. If you become a consultant or a freelancer or contractor, and you do exactly what the client tells you at the rate the client sets on the timeline the client dictates. You didn't leave employment, you just changed employers. These are all cages, different bars, different names, same structure. Someone else is setting the terms of your value, of your time, and of your worth. And here's the most insidious part. The longer you're in that cage, the more comfortable the cage gets. And that's where the second problem lives, because comfortable doesn't mean truly alive. It doesn't mean on fire. Comfortable doesn't mean fulfilled either. Most of the time, comfortable means settling, playing small, playing safe. It can mean being numb, uninspired, just going through the motions of a life that looks fine from the outside, but feels hollow from the inside. And a lot of people have been living there for a long time. The cage created the comfort made the cage invisible. So you stopped seeing the bars because the bars came with a salary, a benefits package, or a retirement plan. It also came with the approval of people whose approval you were taught to need. But recently, for a lot of people, the cage got taken away. Not by choice and not on your timeline. The layoff, the restructuring, the algorithm change that tanked your reach overnight, or a client who disappeared, the platform shifted and took your income with it. Suddenly, the structure's gone, and you're left with a question you never had to answer before. Who am I without all of this? That is the crisis, but it's also the call. The scholar Joseph Campbell spent his entire life studying every great story ever told across every culture in human history. And what he found was that they all told the same story, the story of the hero's journey. It starts with a crisis, some big disruption, something that shatters the ordinary world and makes it impossible to go back to what was. Then comes the call, not an invitation, a call, something that summons you towards this new version of yourself that the old version, the old life, could never have produced. And then a guide appears. A guide appears on the path, someone who's walked their own version of this, who's been through their own dismantling, who can see what you can't see about yourself, about where you're capable of going and what you're capable of doing. See, you're living inside the hero's journey right now, whether you chose it or not. The crisis has happened. The call is here. And I'm not going to be falsely modest about this. I'm here as your guide, not because I have all the answers, but because I have walked through my own deconstruction, because I've sat with tens of thousands of people at exactly this threshold for the last 26 years, because I see what most people can't, including what is possible for you that you can't yet see for yourself. Now, let me tell you what answering the call actually requires. It requires courage, not the absence of fear, courage in the presence of fear. It requires a belief. And I want you to hear this clearly. You would not have gotten the call if you were not capable of answering it. The crisis didn't find you because you're weak. It didn't just happen to you coincidentally. It found you because you are ready. And even if you don't feel ready, even if you're terrified, even if you have no idea what comes next, you are actually more prepared for this moment than you know. And answering the call requires one more thing: a decision, a real one. Not a plan, not a strategy, not a course you sign up for and never finish. A decision to take control of your life and your own destiny. To stop leaving it in the hands of people who want to exploit you and then discard you at will. Because that's what the old model does. It extracts your best years, your best energy, your best ideas. And when it no longer needs you, it hands you a package and a last day and then calls it restructuring. You deserve better than that. And here's what I want you to see. I have been saying this for years, that a new middle class would rise from the ashes of the chaos and the collapse. Not the billionaire class, not the corporations, the brave ones, the ones who answer the call in the middle of this chaos and decide to build something real. And the data is actually proving it right now. In just the first 2 months of this year alone, over 1 million new businesses have been started in the US. 1 million. In 2 months. That's not a trend. That's a movement. Solopreneurs building on their own terms. Colleagues who look at each other and say, let's stop doing this for someone else and build something together. Something with a real mission, real values, something we actually believe in. The gig worker who's building something real. The consultant who finally owns her own expertise. The entrepreneur who is done asking for permission. The content creator and influencer building a brand that's an actual business, not just a following. And the tradesperson whose hands create something no algorithm can replicate. It's the functional medicine doctor who left the broken system and opened her own clinic. The integrative health practitioner who said, I'm going to treat the whole person, not just the symptom. The independent thinkers who refuse to let someone else define what they're worth. These people are not waiting. While others are waiting for the economy to stabilize, these people are building. And while other people are updating their resumes, these people are deciding. While some are scrolling through job posting for something that looks like what they just lost, these people are becoming right now, today, while you're listening to this. And that door's open for you too. Here's what I know and what I've always known. The billionaire class doesn't get to determine our future. That's the choice in front of all of us right now. Wait or answer the call. I already know which one you're capable of. So here's the question I want you to sit with before episode 3. Where in your life are you still choosing comfortable over truly alive? And what would it take for you to finally answer the call? If this is landing for you, make sure to like and subscribe to this series so you don't miss a single episode and then you get notified when a new one drops. I'll see you in episode 3. This is Bernadette Gold, Unfiltered.